The Pendleton Two are two political prisoners, Christopher Naeem Trotter and John Balagoon Cole, who I'll give the short version of the story first, who intervened to save a fellow prisoner's life in 1985, February 1st, at Pendleton Prison, Indiana. And that prisoner was by the name of Lincoln Love, was being beaten by the prison guards, who we later found out were part of a splinter group that belonged to the Ku Klux Klan. They were beating him nearly to death, and they got word of what these guards were doing. They intervened to save his life. They initially did it peacefully, and the guards attacked them. They took over the prison, and they received 200 years for doing such. And they spent 20 years and 32 years in solitary confinement. The film documents all of this.
And what's so devastating, I was watching the other footage on this, is that these are really, like you said, political prisoners. He had like a couple of years. Was it 3 months or 3 years left on his sentence?
One of them had 3 months. Naeem Trotter had 3 months left, and the other, John Balagoon Cole, had three and a half years left. So neither one of them had much time. And back then, you didn't even do all your time. If you got 20, you do 10. So I don't even think Balagoon would have spent the 3.5. But so they basically were, for prison time, they're basically going home, both of them, and they made that sacrifice.
These prison guards, could you speak to who they were and what groups they identified with? And like, was it them trying to hide it? Like what was going on with their membership in this group? Like, what? I'm just trying to understand the dynamics of people saying, "Oh, is this group known as to be good?" Like, what was the dynamics, if you know, in researching this?
So the guards or the prisoners at the time, they didn't know these people were officially like part of a splinter group. And a splinter group is like a group who claims to be like, they believe in the ideology of the bigger organization, but they're not like card paying members of it, like its own cell. So they created their own separate Ku Klux Klan group, which in many ways is worse. They weren't like,
there's no rules, there's no rules.
But the prisoners,
they're not official wizards or anything.
Right. And they do that obviously because they don't want to be, they don't want to get caught. So they start their own with this kind of own internal set of structures. But the prisoners at the time of this did not know, but they obviously knew that the prison was racist. I mean, even in the doctors, I think Naeem said they ran in his cell, choked him out, and said, "Nigger, we'll kill you." Like, this regularly happened. They regularly targeted Black prisoners. So that wasn't, everybody knew that. But when the trial happened after the incident that where they took the prison over and everything, one of the guards that worked there, that's how we learned about this. It wasn't from the prisoners. One of the guards who worked there, named Michael Richardson, and the deposition is in the film. He testifies, they were called the Sons of Light, and he testifies that they would have they would pass out like booklets or brochures basically on their stuff. They had literature they would pass around, and he talks about how his kids were babysitted by some of the Klansmen, and the kids used to play with the Klan folks. Like this is in the deposition, like, and it's in the film, and it's also, we can show the whole deposition if people want to hit us up. We have the whole thing, and he talks about this. He talks about how they regularly targeted Black inmates. So even on the day of this incident, again, 1985, February 1st, the Lincoln Love is in a maximum restraint unit, which is like basically solitary confinement. Is segregation. It's the maximum part of the prison, and they're flipping the cells. The guards are flipping the cells, but they don't. They flip cells like 3 or 4 times. So they were targeting this one inmate, and that's what led to, that's what leads to the uprising. So
now this is not shocking to any of us. This is not shocking to any of us, but obviously there are a lot of people in white America that deny institutional racism. But we know this because after the 1960s, the plan from white supremacist groups was to infiltrate the institutions. They said, since they have the Civil Rights Act and they had this new cultural wave going on, we're going to infiltrate law enforcement. You had white women who was racist who infiltrate education. They infiltrated healthcare. A lot of people don't talk about that part. Like there's not only just law enforcement. These whites. Who do you guys think are the wives of the KKK members? You think they're neutral? No, they're wives of KKK members. So they infiltrated education. They infiltrated healthcare as nurses and many other fields, and implemented a wave of white supremacy. Even if we're gonna lose on the ballot box, if we're gonna lose through legislation, we're gonna do it through institutions by having our people in charge. So it's always hilarious when like you have white people that will admit they have an older racist family member, and they will say that's like a dying age, right? But then ask them the question, what do they do? Oh, my racist aunt was a teacher. What? What are you talking about?